Shalom, brothers and sisters. So, on the Muslim immigrant situation, once again, let me just share 3 articles with you, and you'll see exactly what's going on that I've been talking about and that we've been discussing all this time. Muslim immigrants in France view migration as recolonization in response to historic French colonialism. We will colonize them for life until death, until the end of time. Again, like I've been saying, in more and more news stories these days, besides what it's actually about, you'll see apocalyptic or end times or biblical or all these type of terminologies being used because the world is admitting where it's at, even if it doesn't want to. A shocking revelation comes to light in a dialogue between a rebel news reporter and a Muslim immigrant in France. When questioned about the significant influx of Muslim immigrants to France, despite allegations of rampant racism, the response took a historic turn. The immigrant made a bold admission, hinting at an impending long-term colonization of France as retribution for historical French invasions. Another video showed Muslim immigrants admitting that they are only in France for welfare and the red passport. Critics argue that France will be the first Islamic republic in Europe. The Muslim population in France is the largest in Western Europe at an estimated 5.7 million people, according to Al Jazeera. So they're out of their own mouths what they're about. The next one. Dutch government collapses over deadlock on immigration. Now, you might not have heard this story because why would the mass media be proclaiming this? But this happened. The Dutch government collapsed this Friday past because of irreconcilable differences within the 4-party coalition about how to rein in migration, a divisive issue that has split nations across Europe. The resignation of Prime Minister Mark Rutte, the longest-serving premier of the nation, means the country will face general elections later this year. Rutte and his government will remain in office as caretakers until the new ruling coalition is chosen. It's no secret that the coalition partners have very different views on migration policy, Rutte told reporters. And today, unfortunately, we have to draw the conclusion that those differences are irreconcilable. That is why I will immediately offer the resignation of the entire cabinet to the king in writing. You tear the leadership apart, arguing about the whole immigration issue. And now the leadership's gone, and they just keep doing what they're doing at street level, local level, suburb level, and they take over the country and they get their people into leadership because now this thing goes to election, they push their leaders and they take over the whole country. Desperate French government trying to convince tourists that it is safe to visit the country despite ongoing rioting. This is besides the fact that there's multiple articles of tourists that have been hurt in all of this rioting. Chinese tourists, overseas tourists that have been hurt. Ongoing rioting across France has resulted in $1.1 billion in damage, according to the latest figures. But many are concerned the violence will hurt the country's tourism industry. Obviously, who would want to go visit now? Geoffrey Roux, the head of the French business group MEDEF, said that hundreds of members have reported being attacked during the rioting, with 300 bank branches, 200 stores, and 250 tobacco shops among those affected. Speaking to La Parisine, he said the cost of the damage already exceeds €1 billion, but the true damage will be harder to measure as footage of the violence impacts France's tourism industry. France is so concerned about the loss of tourists, and its economy minister Bruno Le Maire has been making appearances on foreign media insisting that the rioting is not going to impact tourism, while countries like the US, Canada, and the UK have encouraged citizens to exercise great caution while traveling to France. Le Maire is downplaying the threat. Don't worry. I mean, seriously, it's cool. You might even get free stuff because you might be shopping on your holiday and then they'll loot the whole shop. And if you just don't look like the people they want to hurt or kill or beat up, you should be okay. Or your bus gets torched, but you can still get out. There's 2 exits. Are they mad? How stupid do they think people are? They're ignoring the internal crisis of the country. They should have mobilized the military long ago. There should have been lockdowns on where you can move so they can contain this issue. And yes, that sounds crazy, but this is beyond crazy in France already. They're losing the country. It's time to make some hard decisions and get it back on track fast, which they're not doing. They're worried that you're not visiting. And again, the leader of the country is not doing much. It just tells you that all of this in the background is planned. They need these people in those countries ready to do what they need to do to enforce what lies ahead. All of this is unfolding in front of our eyes. Please pray for the innocent French citizens and those in Europe that are suffering because of this chaos being unleashed on them against their will. God bless. Keep looking up. Shalom.